Tony, I've been playing on the Switch too, and
I can't believe it.
me and
You've become
everyone
a
else
Switch
in the
man.
world, I heard apparently they
Yeah,
sold like 6 million or something of them in like a few weeks.
it's absolutely insane.
Apparently Nintendo denied it though. They were like, no, no,
Right?
no, we didn't sell 6 million of these things in a couple of weeks. That's fake news. Um,
Okay.
so
I don't understand.
I think maybe it's to do with the fact that if you like give misinformation, it can be like liable against your shareholders. To be like, this thing's doing really well, and then suddenly it's not. Anyway,
Sure, sure.
so I've been playing the three, I guess you would call them launch titles. We have Mario Kart World coming in number one. I think it's probably the best Switch launch title. It's a bit
Yeah.
meek, I would say. I was really hoping that Donkey Kong was going to be a launch title because I think that would have um, been something that would get people really
Right.
going. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Something to be excited for.
yeah, because I'm a big 3D platformer guy. I mean, probably my
Yeah.
favorite Switch game has to be Mario Odyssey. I'm a big 3D platformer guy, and so I think it's all but confirmed now that basically the Odyssey team is making the new Donkey Kong game, which gets me very excited. But I've got to be honest with you, Tony. Mario Kart World is kind of a 3D platformer. I think they actually,
Yeah, I can see that.
if they were going to release one game for the launch of the Switch 2, I think Mario Kart World might actually be the perfect choice of game. I've played about
Okay.
60 hours now of Mario Kart World, and I would say most of that has been the free roam mode, the blue P-Switch challenges, and Knockout Tour Online has been the thing I've been having the most fun in.
Okay.
So I'd say the game is kind of split up into several things. So there's these, as you're seeing here, is the free roam section where you drive around and you'll find these blue P-Switch missions, which basically you'll have to do a task like, oh, you'll have to get to the goal in this time. There's collect blue coins. There is join the middle of a race and then race along. This Mario Kart game is interesting because they really put emphasis on like the tricking system. So you can see that I jumped onto a rail. I was like rail grinding.
Yeah.
But there's in the single player, there's these things called the special tests of skill, and they're these like really hard, like single player challenges, and you basically have to be like, all right, trick off this wall, trick onto this wall. Hang on, I can show you actually, like some of the challenges.
Special trick.
Yeah. Oh no, this is spoilers for the next game. So like this is
Okay.
take a tricky tour through the Shy Guy Bazaar. This is probably one of my favorite challenges actually. I just drive around Shy Guy's Bazaar doing this now. But just to get you an idea, so you'll have these like blue checkpoint rings. They'll give you extra time, but they're not necessary to complete the challenge. They just give you extra time.
Just very helpful to actually achieve it.
Yeah, but so there is scenarios where I was actually like, I'm going to go around these rings and just get to the end faster because I have extra time, sort of thing, which I find interesting. Then the open world is also broken up into there's these things called Peach medallions, which are just like collectible coins that you can find around. Then every area has a bunch of question mark blocks, and it's the only thing tracked of the collectibles. So each area on the map, as you hover over it, it'll be like, okay, there's like 5 or 6 of these question mark blocks. And when you find them,
that's the one thing when I was watching, is that one thing I really wanted to see is just like not seeing where things are, just like keep track of like what you've actually completed, like how close you are to.
So there is there's technically the sticker system, which when you complete a challenge, you get a sticker, and the sticker is like basically it gives you like a little emblem on your car, and you can go through and be like, okay, I have this sticker for this challenge. But like for example, Tony, when you find a Peach medallion, it gives you a sticker that is not tied to that specific Peach medallion. It's tied to getting a Peach medallion or gliding a certain amount of distance or getting so many coins. And it's just like...
Oh, so you can't even...
you can't even use it to track that.
Okay.
I basically did like 200, 250 pieces because I think the idea was you just drive around the open world and you'll just naturally find these P-switches. And when there's, because I think, spoiler alert, there's like almost 400 of them. There's like 394. I know because I have every single one now. I've collected them all.
Oh, okay. Okay, right.
Yeah. So I've 100% of Mario Kart World in my way. I'll get into that later. But they're really fun. I wish they were easier to find because when I got to like the 250, 200 point, I was just driving around and I never saw them again. Basically, everyone I drove up to and saw was grey because I'd already done it. And I had to basically, I was like, I wish there was a way to just be like, teleport me to a random P-switch I haven't done. Or just, say,
or
hey,
hide ones you've done.
Yeah, hide ones you've done, or basically...
Yeah.
Like when you
it
start,
feels so close to a collectathon.
That's how I feel about Mario Kart game. Is there's so much like low hanging fruit for it to be like a really good game.
Yeah.
Like for me, like my gut reaction after playing like 60 hours is this game's like 4.5 stars. Like it's so good and so like fun, but there is so much like they could have easily improved this when it comes to this game. Yeah. That I can't be like, okay, this is a perfect game. Because when you start up the game, it basically goes, oh, here's a random area for you to free roam in. Why doesn't it just go, hey, let's start you next to a bunch of stuff that you haven't unlocked? That would be really interesting.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But yeah, I've had so much fun just like driving around and just finding stuff. Like I agree with them that I don't think they should have done like a Forza thing where you log into the game and there's like 600 icons. It feels like you're playing a Ubisoft game and there's 600 icons on the map and you're just super overwhelmed, right? I would have hated that.
I think discovering it is fine. It's just tracking the level of completion is all I would want and a little bit of extra. But yeah, I agree. Like it should be like Forza, 100%.
So to get the completion of the game, I've technically got a credits roll a couple of times on this game, Tony. So the credit roll is tied behind the traditional Mario Kart stuff. It's doing the Grand Prix. So you basically just have to play the Grand Prix, and then once you play all the Grand Prix, spoiler alert, you unlock Rainbow Road as the special cup, and then you can race that. Rainbow Road on this game is really fucking cool. It's basically like they put a lot of effort into it, and I think they were basically like, here's our showcase for HDR.
Yeah. It's really elaborate.
Yeah. And it's five laps, and it's just...
Is it like the fourth lap is like in like a I don't know, like a twilight...
You go in... there's like an ice area that's like nighttime, and there is a lot of cool stuff. Yeah, Aurora Borealis in this kitchen.
Localized entirely within the kitchen.
But yeah, it's really cool. And then basically, there's single player knockout tours, which I hadn't really played until I was like, okay, I need to do these for the unlockable stuff. So you just have to place like top 4 in those, I think. And then you have to get like 10 of the collectibles, which I'd done at that point because I'd just been spamming single player. I think that's probably my favorite. I think the free roam was my favorite part, which is strange to see because I feel like I'm almost in the minority when it comes to the free roam stuff. It seems like most people are either knockout touring online or they just want to do laps of normal Mario Kart races, which is cool because I like that stuff too. But
the people are going, oh, what's the point of they didn't really see like the appeal of the.
I think the issue is there isn't really a point to do the single player stuff. I was doing it because I found it fun. I think that is the big issue with the open world, like free roam stuff in Mario Kart World feels kind of empty in a sense that.
But what's the point of doing the laps and things though?
I guess it's just like personal. It's like what's it called? Extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. You're intrinsically motivated to want to be better. Whereas
the thing is, but the thing is to me is and I know like we were really said like, oh, it's not like some changes that need to be made to make it work like this. But like if you treat it as a collectathon, I think it's just like, oh, I need to complete all the challenges, all the switches, and I get all the coins and all the skins through it. Like I feel like treating it like that, and that there is a purpose.
Yeah, well, because what you get for doing this is stickers, and stickers are useless. I think people were like,
I don't care.
I think people were like, okay, like I should be able to unlock like a character by doing some of the P-switch missions or something like that. That would be a nice reward.
Yeah. Some of the I think you said on the podcast like some of the stuff that's like gave behind the random.
Yeah, so there's
was it the random mechanic maybe?
So I've unlocked all of the skins for the playing all the Grand Prix unlocks all the bonus characters. Like DK is a bonus character in this game, and he also only has like one skin, which is kind of wild. Yes. Which I find kind of crazy, but yeah, so basically the way you unlock skins in this game is you basically drive around and you eat this food, and then based on what the food is that you're eating, that unlocks a different skin for the character, and there's several foods that are tied to different skins. I think it's a good way to do it. You just drive around free roam, you eat food, or you can play like the Grand Prix and the Knockout Tours, because the food bags are also in the races, and if that character doesn't have a skin, or they've already unlocked that skin, it's just basically like a mushroom, it's like a boost. And what's cool is like, because there's so many more races now, there's like 24 races now, which is kind of fucking crazy how many people are on the tracks, right? It makes like the online knockout tour stuff so like fun and chaotic, right? Which I think is like the appeal of a game like Mario Kart, is just how crazy it is.
I appreciate how crazy it is.
And I think they lean more into that like chaos with this Mario Kart game. Because I've been playing like the knockout tour stuff and streaming it, and people were like, oh, that sucks, you got absolutely wrecked by items, it was completely random. I'm like, I can't play Mario Kart and get angry, it's Mario Kart, that's the game, right?
That's the side how I see it.
Like you kind of want that chaos, right? Because I think Mario Kart does a good job of balancing like being able to reward good players by being able to give them like, because you can go really fast at the front.
You have to be consistent. I think you'd be a good player. You have to be consistent. Like there's randomness, but you can be consistently good, and that's how you be rewarded.
That's kind of Nintendo's ethos, though. They want to make games that are playable by people who've never played a game before, and playable by people who are like been Nintendo fans for the past 20, 30 years, whatever, right? Which I think is a really good way to go. But I think Mario Kart really strives this balance really well. Where you go, guys in last place, you get a bullet bill, you get your lightning, you get your whatever, right? But then you have the people in front, they get the coins, the shells, not as good items, but if they're good enough to keep going, they can dodge out of the other items, and you can... there is actually multiple ways to dodge blue shells in this game, which I think is pretty cool. Like, there is the obvious sound blaster one, which lets you immediately destroy it. But, like, for example...
Is that a new one?
No, that was in the previous game.
Okay. I haven't played the previous one either.
New item, I would say, nuance for this game, we have the feather, which I think is really cool for free roam, because it's like it allows you to do a jump, and there are so many like collectibles. I'm like, oh, I want a feather here, and then I can jump up here and grab this item, right? Whereas it doesn't feel as impactful in the races unless there's like a specific shortcut you're going for.
Yeah. Do you think there should be more jump shortcuts to make that more useful?
I think there is. It's just they're like harder to do until you've like raced the track a lot of times.
Right. So there is complexity.
The issue, because like like driving around Shy Guy's Bazaar here, this is a racetrack. But the thing is, the racetracks are kind of half designed to be racetracks and half designed to be Grand Prix, free roam areas, right? So sometimes I'll be driving around on a knockout tour or a Grand Prix, right? And I'm just like, oh, the road goes this way, let me follow the roads. And it's like, no, you're out of bounds. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be going this way?
It's a bit confusing.
The general rule of thumb is if you see giant yellow barriers, you can't go past them. But they're not always there, and it's not always obvious, but you do get used to it.
If you know the track, I guess you'll eventually get used to it, right?
But yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about collectibles. So the reason I was doing all of the unlocking all the characters and doing all of the collecting and stuff, you can unlock mirror mode for Mario Kart World, and you maybe said that basically lets you play reverse tracks of all the Grand Prix tracks and knockout tours and stuff, which is really, really cool. And you were saying, oh, Joe, you play mostly free roam, you won't see that much. Once you unlock mirror mode in this game, you can actually drive into the the portrait of Peach in Peach's castle, and it mirror modes the entire world for free roam, and it was absolutely like
wild,
blowing my brain when I saw it for the first time, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, because everything in the east would be in the west, right? Like it's east to west mirrored.
Yeah, because I was like, oh, I'll go to the ice cream area on the right side of the map, and I'm like, wait, why is Dry Bones Burnout over here? What's going on? I just say, I love the visual quality of this game. It looks so fucking like clean, good. Like coming from, so I'll talk about Fast Fusion after this, but like Fast Fusion uses DLSS like from a really low internal resolution. It's like 540p to like 4K or something, right? And it like you can see like the shimmering and the aliasing, right? And this game is just like native 1440p, and it is just very clean.
It's rock solid.
Performance is rock solid as well, Tony. We have a 60 FPS Switch 2 game. It runs 60 FPS in handheld and docked, and it looks very, very good.
That's good. That's good.
I have played this mostly docked. I have played a bit handheld as well, and it does hold up pretty well. But yeah. So yeah, I like the... I think Knockout Tour might be my favorite. I did play a little bit of Battle Mode, which has never really been my main focus on Mario Kart. I don't think many people are big Battle Mode players, I would say.
What is the Battle Mode?
So there's several modes. The one I played was... it was like coin runners, so you basically have to collect as many coins as possible, and if you hit somebody, it would cause them to drop their coins. There's another one where it's like the classic one is like Balloon Pop, where you drive around with like 3 balloons on the back of your cart, and every time you get hit, you pop a balloon and it knocks that person out.
Yeah, I do remember that one actually.
I think there might be more, but those were the only... I only played the coin one when my sister was around. I have played this co-op, so you can... Some of the weird limitations, so... I was playing split screen with my sister. When you're playing split screen, you can queue up online. So we were both playing online Knockout Tour lobbies, and I was like, "Oh, this is really fun." And when you're driving around together, it like keeps you together, so you don't. If I wanted to drive to the other side of the map, like basically you both turned around and drove in opposite directions, and eventually the game goes no, and it like drags you back together to stop you getting too far apart.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
I guess it's to like stop the system rendering too much and like having stability issues or whatever. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to play Mario Kart because I have the Nintendo Switch Online. I'm going to play it with my friend who also has it on his Switch too. So we queue up online and we're like, okay, let's both play Knockout Tour together on an online lobby. You can't do that online for some reason. So if he was sat next to me, we could both join an online lobby. But because we're online on different Switches, we can't both join an online lobby. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I can understand being like, okay, 4 of you are going to queue up for an online lobby. You can't do that, fair enough. But it's the exact same amount of people that I had when I was playing locally.
Is that just like an oversight, or is that so they don't?
And it's so much, and we could like make our own lobbies and it just fill like a Knockout Tour with bots or a Grand Prix with bots. But it's not as fun as playing online. Like the online's really fun because you have 22 other human beings trying to get through this absolute chaos of just items going off everywhere, right? But then
it wouldn't be as chaotic.
We started driving around, and then I could drive to the other side of the map, and he could drive to the other side of the map. So it's like there's different limitations for like local, and there's different limitations for multiplayer, which is just like okay, inconsistent, but okay. Did I talk about how you unlock the carts? It's basically, once you get enough coins, it unlocks a new cart. So I have all the carts at this point. And in Nintendo fashion, in Mario Kart fashion, there's invisible stats. So they do tell you the kart stats, which they're like, okay, bikes are better for acceleration and handling, for example. But then you'll have like cars that will have like worse acceleration but higher top speeds. But then like every single character has their own like personal stats. So there's like Mario, for example, is a medium character. So the bigger you are, the more max speed you'll have, and the easier you can push people aside. But then the worse acceleration you have. The smaller you are, the better acceleration you have, but the more you will get pushed around, for example. But then, Tony, there's certain characters that drive faster on different materials. For example, the cow drives faster on dirt, or like Wario drives faster on roads, for example. Like there is weird like min-maxing stuff you can do on Mario Kart. I've just been pretty much just going, this character looks cool, I like this car, I'm going to put them together. I'm not too worried about like the meta carts or whatever. There is like
whatever I've got, I will optimize for that, but I'm not gonna min-max.
For me, this is very much like a party game, right? But I know there is people who take this stuff seriously, and there is legitimate skill to be had from racing in Mario Kart. Like I've had people in my knockout tour lobbies just front run the entire time and just dominate the lobby. It didn't matter how many blue shells come towards him; he would just keep front running. And destroy people by just constantly boosting and being faster. Oh, this is a new power up to him. The Mega Mushroom lets you squash people. I think it's probably one of the strongest new power ups in the game because not only does it stop you getting affected by the terrain. So if you drive off road in Mario Kart, you're a lot slower. But if you, for example, if you boost through terrain, it doesn't slow you down. If you're big, it doesn't slow you down. If you have an invincible mushroom, it doesn't slow you down. If you're a ghost, it doesn't slow you down. So there's an item called Boo, which is really good, which basically means you are immune to getting hit by other people's abilities because you ghost out. It then you'll see me use Boo in a minute here. It basically goes it goes and steals somebody else's item, and you're immune to terrain, so you don't have to. You can drive through corners instead of having to go around them. That seems
insanely good.
Yeah, but the thing is, it kind of balances out, right, by giving you items based on your positioning. So if you're further ahead, you're getting less items.
So it's a stronger. Yeah. Okay. Fair.
But if you're further back, you're much more likely to get something that's just going to give you like immediate boost, like a golden mushroom, where you can just boost. Boost
back up.
Yeah. So like here, I have the infinite mushroom boost, and you just spam the key. The hammers are new as well. Hammers in the chat.
Hammer?
Yeah. You just saw it there. I can go back if you would like.
That was the hammer.
You throw a bunch of hammers in front of you. Right. It's an attack.
I've not seen
this one. There's the fire flower, which throws fireballs. There's the ice flower, which throws ice balls. This is what I want to say about the big mushroom. The reason the big mushroom's so good is that you can drive over people, and if you drive over someone, it flattens them. And I think being flattened is like the most slowdown that can happen to you as a Mario Kart player. Like, it is affecting you so like I would rather get hit by a red shell than be flattened, for example. Like, it would slow me down less.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Because
pretty wild then.
It seems like because they've tried to accommodate to there being more races, they've kind of nerfed some of the like stronger items. Like in Mario Kart 7, for example, there's only 12 races. If someone gets Bullet Bill, you get hit by a Bullet Bill, you just go flying off the map, you're dead basically.
Yeah.
Now with the Bullet Bill in like Mario Kart World, it kind of just pushes you to the side when it hits you, sort of thing. It's not as powerful because they have to balance it around, like more people are going to have access to this item, more people can be hit by it, for example, right?
Yeah.
Which I think was the right thing to do.
I thought it was a little bit weak, maybe, but I'm not actually played it myself. But I guess it's still something you have to worry about, right?
It's definitely like whenever I'm offered it, I'll use it because it basically just lets you go forward. You're immune to terrain. It basically just puts you in the middle of the map, and it just kind of auto steers you towards the goal. It is very much like a good item for newer players. Lightning is really interesting because I think it adds like a good balance to item holding, because basically what it does is it zaps everyone with lightning, destroys any items they have, and it slows them down and makes them tiny so you can then drive over them if you're big. Why this is interesting is because a good strategy would be to like farm, like be in like 20th place, grab like a Bullet Bill and like an infinite boost mushroom, get into first place, and then just sit until the end and then hold your really good power-ups and then no one can get ahead of you. The issue with doing that is because lightning exists, your items can be destroyed, so you kind of do want to use them at some point, otherwise you're going to lose them. And if you're behind lightning, you don't get hit by it. And I think if you're big or you have like invincibility star, you don't get hit by lightning. Oh, the boomerang is new, I'm fairly sure. I didn't play too much Mario Kart 8, but I think the boomerang is a new attack item. Oh, there's the gold... shell as well, which drops a bunch of coins. So basically, it always goes down the dead center of the Mario Kart track, which is where most people will be.
Coins did.
Yeah, so in Mario Kart, you can now collect 20 coins, and what coins do is, based on how many coins you're holding, increases your like maximum speed. I think holding 20 coins increases your speed by like 5% or something like that. And it doesn't scale linearly. It doesn't. So like
Linearly.
like the first like 10 coins are like more important than like having like
diminishing returns sort of thing.
It's not like
that makes sense.
1 coin equals 1/20th, for example. Yeah, which is kind of interesting.
How do you lose coins? Like people hitting you lose a coin?
Yeah, so if you get hit by something, you'll lose coins. If you Lakitu, he's a greedy guy. So if you fall off the map, Lakitu is the name of the guy with the fishing rod who will pick you up, and when he picks you up, he takes a bunch of coins out of you. It's like an animation. You'll see it.
Okay.
So that is something to keep into mind. So this is Kamek. This is what I was talking about. So you see here, this is how you unlock characters. So somebody will get a Kamek power, which will turn everybody into a random character that gets hit by it, but not the person who casts it because they're casting it. And it just makes it like one of these really annoying items to get in Knockout Tour because it's kind of useless unless you're the one... Yeah, it's kind of useless unless somebody else uses it on you because you want to unlock these characters. And it depends on which map you're racing on, which character you get. So there's a bunch of characters I don't have because they are like maps that don't come up as often, and I need somebody else to be behind me casting a Kamek, and I need to be in the middle of the map to get hit by this ability. And
it seems overly complex.
Because I've been trying to like get everything, and I've pretty much just given up on Kamek stuff. I'm just like, I'm not gonna,
It's just too random.
Yeah, because I've got all the blue piece switches. I've got all the question mark blocks. I've got like half the peach coins, but again, you don't really get anything by acquiring peach coins. So I was like, I don't really care to go because there's no way to like target where they are other than going like I've been using like an online map to find blue piece switches and basically having to go to every single one and be like, okay, I've already got this one, I haven't got this one, I've already got this one, and I've having to like check them off like tediously because the game doesn't give you an option to do it, which is kind of annoying, right? I wish there was like a way to do it in the game. I guess I didn't even explain how Knockout Tour works. Basically, there's 24 races, and every checkpoint gate, 4 races get knocked out until there's only 4 people left, and then the person in first wins when they win the race. It's like a battle royale game for America, and I think this is exactly what the game needed. It's really fun. And
it looks really cool.
Every night I would just, go on Mario Kart, do the open world stuff, and then I would just slam, some Knockout Tours online.
I guess my question would be is like if you were to load like Strangers as like a party game, you've got like a load of people on is it 4 people maximum like locally?
I've never played more than 2, but I think it's 4 maximum. And
Can you all be in a game, or does you force being with bots? Like how does that work?
You can choose no CPUs when you make a custom game if you want.
Okay.
But I would say like you probably want CPUs with that few people. Just to make it add a bit more spice to it.
And it's just you. But
I think so. 2-player I think is 60. I think if you play 4-player, it goes down to 30. I'm fairly sure. I think that was the case for Mario Kart 8 as well. Right. I think I've been calling it Mario Kart 7 as this whole time, but I'm talking about Mario Kart 8, I believe. Mario Kart 8 was on the Wii U, and then it came to the Switch, right? Isn't it, Tony? Isn't it crazy? This is literally the first Mario Kart game in the past 11 years. Isn't that crazy?
That is, yeah, that is insane.
Like,
I
because
guess it's like that bag because they've released so much, like I guess DLC and
yeah, because they
updates. Is that
re-released
what's
Mario
happening?
Kart 8 on the Switch as Mario Kart
Yeah,
8 Deluxe, and then they did the DLC
yeah,
pass for it, right?
yeah. I guess that changes the dynamic a little bit.
Mm. But yeah. But basically, I've spent a lot of time in Mario Kart World now. I think I've got my take on it, and I really fucking love the game, Tony. I think this is probably. I'm gonna have a hot take, Tony. This is the best game on the Switch too. That is my my hot take. Will this be in contention for my game of the year? I think it might be, but
Oh, really? Okay.
I think with the low hanging fruit stuff. I mean, like this game feels rife for like big update or a DLC. Like,
Yeah,
it feels like they're gonna we're gonna add a bunch of new races. We're gonna add in maybe one more map. I would love Nintendo. I've finished every P-switch mission in the game. Please add some more P-switches. Give me more of this sort of stuff. The tricky challenges. I love this stuff.
Maybe have skins unlocked from doing all of.
Yeah, like Donkey Kong has one skin. Maybe with the release of a Donkey Kong game, they could give him some more skins.
Yeah,
and then they could be like, "Hey, do some challenge. Let's do some challenges in the jungle area where you have to play at. Maybe make you play as Donkey Kong, and then you unlock Donkey Kong skins.
Yeah,
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Just some Nintendo
skins.
hire this guy. Come on. Mario Kart 9 and Unreal Engine 5. It's started. You know, it's one thing I've seen point because like just to talk about like the price of the Switch 2 and the Mario Kart. Because people are complaining that it's so expensive, right?
Yeah.
With inflation, the cost of the console is not too expensive, in my opinion. I don't think it's crazy. I think that's been kind of overblown.
I think one thing to note with the inflation stuff, you have to be very careful because some of this inflation is like not natural inflation, if that makes sense. Like it's like some of it is like from prices. Like being in line with that still feels bad because like you're not able to.
I'm saying,
like,
but I'll just say,
your job.
Personally, I don't think the Switch 2 is too overpriced for what it is. Like,
I think
for me personally, I've been spending
the show itself is fine.
Like, because people are saying, "Oh, there's only Mario Kart," and you know, there's no games for it in the minute. You don't have to buy it now. And also, I've been spending the past 40 hours playing Animal Crossing on my Switch 2. Like, the really cool thing about the Switch 2, I think, is that Nintendo is actually embracing the backwards compatibility really hard.
If the Switch 2 had not have backwards compatibility, I think saying, "Oh, like it's too expensive," like fine. But like, the fact that you just play all Switch 1 games, I think is actually insane. Like, I feel like we're in a world where like a lot of consoles don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Or have to do it in a weird way. It's just like that's actually really good for Nintendo. Like, I want to
talk about the rewind feature in this game as well, quickly as well. I love the rewind feature because it not only allows you to like practice jumps and stuff, but it also isn't just like a get out of jail free card. Like it actually, when you press the rewind button, you go back in time to where you were and you get your previous items that you used. But if you're doing a mission, the timer still keeps going, and if you're in a race, the racers like the CPU or whatever, because you can only use it in single player, they keep going forward. So it might actually not be beneficial to rewind. So I think the way they did the rewind is really good. Basically, if you're buying Mario Kart 2, if you're playing Mario Kart World, you have to buy Switch 2. So you're gonna buy the bundle, right? Which makes it a lot cheaper.
Yeah. I think it sounds like you'd recommend doing that if that's what you wanted to do. If you're interested
I think at some point, unless you're just like really not interested in Mario Kart, you're probably going to want to play Mario Kart at some point, and it's probably worth getting the bundle. I think.
I feel like, most people who own a Nintendo console play Mario Kart.
But the point I wanted to make is that because people are saying about the price, I think like the fact that Nintendo is still making incredibly fun, handcrafted single player games with 0 microtransactions in them is like you have to take into the cost account.
I would pay a premium for microtransactions for sure, but I still would like it a little bit cheaper. I still don't think that entirely justifies the price because I think they are making money from them. But Yeah, there's definitely some sort of like premium for not having microtransactions, 100%.
But yeah, I've been absolutely loving Mario Kart World. I've 100%ed it in my way of, doing all the P switches, getting all the characters, but all the bullshit that I can't really target farm, I've just been like, I don't. Like, there's, like, for example, I think you can race against Nintendo developers' time trials, and that might be counted for the 100% in some people's. But I would say when it comes to like completion of games, I just play them until I'm kind of satisfied with them. I think that's the way you should do them, right?
Right. Okay.
Where rather than somebody's like arbitrary, no, you have to do all this stuff that you don't want to do, sort of thing.
The great thing about single player games, you can play it as long as you want.
Yeah. Where do you want to go from here, Tony? Do you want to talk about a really fucking good racing game, or do you want to talk about the worst game on the Switch too?
I think we should do another racing game and just do racing with racing, right?
I feel kind of bad for Fast Fusion because this game is fucking fantastic, and I feel like they released an amazing racing game, like arcadey racing game, at the same time as Mario Kart World, and I feel like just nobody is going to be playing this when Mario Kart World is out. That being said, there is sort of a lull of people now who've played Mario Kart World, and they're like, okay, what else is there in the Switch 2? And this is one of the like 3 launch titles. This is Shin'en Media, and it is like a mix of like, speaking of F-Zero, Tony, I played F-Zero 99. F-Zero is also available on the GameCube emulator now. I haven't played. I need to play the GameCube emulator. I've heard some mixed things about it in terms of its input latency. Some people are complaining it's a bit laggier than like just playing in Dolphin, for example. And they're saying like the sticks are a bit like over sensitive. So hopefully they'll be able to fix that sort of thing.
Anyway, but Fast Fusion, like to me, seems like very similar to Wipeout on the
Wipeout, absolute fantastic game. Even a game I played as a kid, Hydro Thunder, which was like this high speed like boat racing game. Absolutely fantastic. Loved that game on the PC. But yeah, it's like that F-Zero, that Wipeout kind of game, and it is like fast-paced arcade racing, and it's really fucking fun. You basically collect
and power-ups and boosts.
You don't get shields, but you do.
No, some of the games in the genre have shields.
Okay, right.
One of them.
So the way it works, Tony, is you collect these coins, which give you a boost. You then have this like phase shifting mechanics, which I think was maybe in their previous game, Fast RMX, which I could also play as well because that's also switched to. Compatible through backwards compatibility. And of course, Tony, if a game has something like DRS or it had like a higher frame rate cap that it couldn't reach, it just looks and plays better on the Switch too, which is cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, you basically switch between red and blue to
that's interesting to me, the switching between
because if I'm on like red and I drive over the blue thing, it'll like grab onto me and slow me down, so you need to like actively change between them.
I like that.
Oh, also cool. That is on like one of the top buttons. I think it's on like X maybe that switches you. So I've actually been using my Pro Controller, which I would highly recommend the Pro Controller 2 to anyone getting a Switch 2. I think it is like in my opinion, maybe a must-have.
You said that the battery life is incredibly good, right?
Battery life's really good, but the back buttons are like the per game back buttons are an absolute game changer. Like being able to like quickly switch phases on Fast Fusion, or just even like, I can quickly open my tool ring inventory in Animal Crossing has been so fucking useful. Like I absolutely love the back buttons. So yeah, definitely check that out. Basically, the way it works is it's your standard like arcade racing game. You race around these tracks, you collect the boost. The coins are also interesting because they're currency. So you use the coins to buy new carts. I think the big change from Fast RMX is in Fast RMX you could like jump, but you didn't choose when you jump. You kind of jumped off holes. In this game, you can now press a button and you'll jump up into the air. Nice. And there's tons of different maps where there's like huge skips where you can jump up.
To climb it yourself.
Yeah. Like for example, on the lava map, you can go to the left and you can like take an entirely different road with like a jump and a boost. And you saw there, I took a bad jump and I just drove into a wall and exploded. Like it's fast paced, and if you fuck up, it's like
an overhead sign.
Fast Fusion is very like high risk, high reward arcade racing. Yeah. So if you go for that crazy skip, you'll get rewarded a lot. But if you fuck it up, you'll explode and you'll lose a bunch of time, which is really cool.
I am very impressed with the sense of speed you get. Like the way done the map.
I think it's to do with like the like motion blur and the like the warping of the ship.
The scale.
Yeah.
I think that as well. But I think it's also like. I think those are very important, but I think it's also I think the way they design the maps and then like, the speed they want to go for, like I think it's well put together to like give you that really fast.
I was impression. Like, I played this for a long time. And I was like, why is it called Fast Fusion? And I didn't. It wasn't until I saw somebody's review that I realized you could fuse the ships together. So all of the ships have stats.
Yeah,
and you can take two of the ships and you can combine their stats together to make a brand new ship, and the new ship has the stats of the two ships, but it also like takes the style of the ship. So it like, I think there's like over 100 different combinations of ships you can have. So there's a lot of like ships in this game. Did you know Shannon Media is? I think they're like 3 people who work there. Like it's absolutely insane. Let me look it up. But there are really.
I mean, they're like a massive team, but it's great.
But it's basically like this really small independent studio, and they just keep putting out these really great like small scale games on the Switch, and they're really fucking fun. Now it's just playing this is being like, man, why don't we have more arcade races? Because I'm sorely missing them. They're so fun.
Yeah. 100%,
and I think
I
like
want more of them for sure.
You could say like this is maybe one of the best like technically looking games on the Switch in terms of like the actual graphics and what you're seeing. Like it looks absolutely gorgeous. My only issue is like the image quality is quite like soft and blurry because of their like extreme use of DLSS, like their lightweight version the Switch has. Like we're talking like, you know, as I think I said, like maybe like 540p to like 4K or something like that, right? Like it gets really interesting. There is so many modes now in this game because basically they took that feedback and said, hey, we're going to add another mode that is just pure dynamic resolution scaling. And it almost feels like
you have different modes. You get the choice.
Yeah, so there's, and I think there's like 7 modes, Tony, because there is like. So for docked, there's like a 4K 60 that basically upscales as much as possible, but it turns off stuff like dynamic shadows. So like it falls back onto like pre-baked stuff. And there's you can see around my racer. There's no shadow underneath my actual cart that may make it like feel like you're more like stuck to the track, right? There's a balance mode which is like 1440p 60, and I think it has some of these other options. Then there's a quality mode which is like 1080p 60, which has like dynamic shadows and stuff. And then there is a performance mode which I think is like a 1080p 30 FPS, which has all the niceties turned up, like dynamic shadows on everything, right? Yes, I was playing Fast Fusion initially while downloading Mario Kart, because the code for Mario Kart that comes in the bundle is a digital code. Currently, I don't own a single physical game for the Switch 2. I'm thinking about going digital because it's just a lot easier. There's a lot of space now on the Switch 2, and games load a lot faster on the internal storage now. And even the micro SD cards, express cards, are actually really fast. Like they're faster than carts now, which is interesting.
That's interesting.
But I will be getting a cartridge for Donkey Kong Bonanza because it was cheaper by getting Argos deal there. So I will tell you the Switch 2 cart experience. You can still put Switch 1 carts in the Switch 2, which I have been doing. Like I played Mario Party Jamboree before the update came out. And yeah, I'm excited because that's one thing we are solely missing is we're in July we're getting the Jamboree update for the Switch 2 version of Super Mario Party Jamboree. I don't think we're getting Kirby until like August or something. Like I'm really excited to play that Kirby DLC at like, you know, playing it like 1440p 60. Like that game looks. I heard from a friend who's played that game 100% through an emulator. Like Kirby looks really good at high resolutions at 60 FPS. You know, but yeah, so I'm excited for that. But it feels like. I think we're really waiting for a direct to be like, hey, here's what's coming to the Switch 2. And I would like to see more Switch 1 upgrades because I think the big strength of the Switch 2 has been backwards compatibility, but I want to see more Switch 2 games. That's what I want to see, right? Because Fast Fusion is really fucking cool, right? And I want to see more shit like this. And it shouldn't be up to like a German studio with like 3 people to be like, okay, here's a Switch 2 game, right?
This seems crazy. There's such.
Tony! Speaking of Switch 2 games being expensive, this game is like £15, maybe even. I think it might be cheaper than that. I think it's like 13, 14 pounds. It's really cheap, and it's really good. But yeah, like you go through these courses, use your coins to buy new carts, to fuse carts, and then you also can buy new tracks to race on. And they are really fucking cool. And I would highly recommend Fast Fusion. I think if you have a Switch 2, you're doing yourself a disservice by not at least picking up this game and giving it a go. Because, like, I can't... Like, the cool thing about the Switch 2 is it's a hybrid console. So I can... As somebody who plays mostly docked, I can still pick this up and, you know, take it with me and be like, hey, I'm going to play some Fast Fusion with my friends or some Mario Kart, whatever my friends, right? And... like when I show this to my friends, they're gonna be like, "Let's play Mario Kart or Mario Party Jamboree." And I'm like, "Let's play a little bit of Fast Fusion because this game, legit, is really fucking good." I think this game is only split screen co-op at the moment, or game share co-op. You know, you can like stream it to a Switch 1 console, sort of thing.
Oh wait, no, how does that work? I don't know how that works.
So for the Switch 2, they've done this thing where you can basically do like it streams the game over Wi-Fi to a Switch 1 console, and then somebody else can play on a Switch 1. For example, is how they do it. Because they're like, well, a lot of people who are buying Switch 2 will own a Switch 1 as well. So it's basically taking the burden of displaying another viewport by basically putting it over onto another screen entirely, which would be a really good idea to do, other than the fact that it looks kind of fucking awful. Like the streaming quality of game share is pretty bad from what I've seen. I've not tested it personally, but it does not look good. It's not like anything close to like. I'd say it doesn't even look like xCloud quality. Like, God forbid they were able to get like I would love if they were like, and here's the quality of GeForce. Was it called GeForce Now or whatever? The Nvidia one.
That's the Nvidia one. I think it's GeForce Now, right?
GeForce Now. Is GeForce Now the name of like their like where you upgrade their drivers?
The experience.
Nvidia streaming app. What's it called? GeForce Now. Is that it? Fuck it. Whatever the Nvidia one is really good, and it does AV1 stuff, and it's cool, and streaming to a Wii U tablet legit looks better than whatever the fuck they're doing to a Switch 1 so far. So, yeah. So it ain't it cheap right now, but yeah. Are you interested at all by Fast Fusion? You're not interested in the Switch, right?
No, I am. I think Fast Fusion does interest me because I love Wipeout. I think it has some like really strong like musical stuff where this I don't think really has, but I think this improves in many other ways, like jumping and changing ship color, I suppose. That would be called like your phase color. I think that's some interesting stuff, and I think the price as well. Like I think that's a no-brainer, right? I would be very interested.
Yeah.
Never. Have on PC, please.
Yeah. Should we move on to the worst game on Switch too?
yeah, let's do it.
So Tony, just as a prank, I said, you know what? I'll spend £8, 8 Great British pounds,
I can't,
and I will buy the
that.
game that is supposed to be a pack-in game for the Nintendo Switch 2, and I will play it, and I will see what it's like. And I gotta say, I came away pretty disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour is the worst game I've ever played, but it's definitely not the best.
Okay.
To put it lightly.
Is it the worst game on Switch 2?
Yes, by far.
Okay.
But there's 3 games and both of them are excellent, so...
Yeah, fair. No, it doesn't really mean much, I guess.
I mean, is it the worst game if you consider the AI slop on the eShop?
Okay. Wait, that exists already?
I don't... Because obviously you don't game on the Switch. The Switch eShop is full of like garbage shovelware, basically.
Right.
And there is like straight up copyright IP stealing games. There is like an issue with just like games that cost nothing that are basically like barely function. There is insane amounts of hentai on the Switch eShop as well. Maybe you should get a Switch 2, Tony. I mean, there's a demographic for you.
Yeah, but I only take the good hentai games.
Oh, okay. They don't put them on the Switch eShop then. So the Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Kind of disappointed this wasn't a pack-in game, but after playing it, I'm like, maybe, you know... The problem is Astro's Playroom exists for the PlayStation 5, which is a free pack-in game, which basically goes, hey, here's an awesome platforming game by... Team Asobi, and it's for free, and it shows off like all the features of the controller in a way to like teach you about the console. Switch 2 Welcome Tour is not the worst game for doing that. It's just in this like really boring Nintendo way. So it's like it's one of the only games where I've actually used mouse controls, for example. I think Drag X Drive is coming out in like August, which will use like the mouse controls, but because I think you can technically use mouse controls in like the Cyberpunk Switch 2 port.
Okay.
But as you can see here, I am putting the controller, the Joy-Con down on my table, and I'm moving it around to control this ship to dodge spiky balls. And the mouse controls are okay. I'm actually interested to do more mouse mode stuff. I don't think it's as good as just using a mouse, obviously. But as somebody who plays the Switch 2 sat at a desk with a mouse mat, as I would like, because I use it docked through a capture card, I might be the target demographic for mouse mode, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I'm probably, as somebody who may or may not have emulated Metroid Prime Remastered and emulated the joystick to be mouse controls, FPS games kind of work really well with mouse controls. And the fact that, the Metroid Prime 4 is coming with mouse controls, I'm very excited to... I might put down my Pro controller, which I have not done for the longest time, and actually do mouse controls.
I suppose my question is like if the OS supports this idea of like a mouse mode on the joystick,
you can
just plug in a mouse.
Yes, you can plug in a mouse there's a game called Game Builder's Garage, which received a Switch 2 update, which is basically like Unreal Engine blueprints. So basically you like develop these little like game dev game sort of things by moving around like these little, like the blueprint system where you can script your own games, almost like Scratch or something, right? If you understand what that is. Do you know Scratch, the game making program for kids? I had to use it at school to make games and stuff.
I think I know what you're talking about, but no, I've never used it myself.
Okay, but basically it allows you to plug in a mouse and like click on things, and basically it makes it a lot easier. I think the issue is with the mouse controls through a mouse, you need to be able to press like the A and the B button and maybe additional buttons as well. I think you still, because when you take like your right Joy-Con and turn it into a mouse, it has 4 face buttons on it, and I don't think that's feasible on a normal mouse. Now,
it's got a crazy gaming
as
mouse.
I have learned, you plug in a Razer Naga MMO mouse with like 20 buttons on the side.
Yeah,
I would like to see like more third-party support with this, but I would love to see like an official Nintendo mouse, because in the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, I'm going to talk about things I've learned in the Nintendo Switch Welcome Tour, Tony. Nintendo did make a mouse. They made like a mouse for I think it was the NES. The Super NES had I think it was only in Japan. No, it came out in North America as well, and it was used for Mario Paint, which is funny because the new Donkey Kong game has this like Mario Paint-esque section, which they're using with the new mouse mode support as well.
Okay.
But yeah, I've seen some like Joy-Con accessories for mouse mode, which could be interesting to try. I might have to get my sister to grab me one of those through Amazon Vine and just see if one of these attachments can make mouse mode better. But I would love to see like Nintendo if you made an official mouse, just a computer mouse, but put like an A, B, X, and Y button on it. Maybe A and B is the left and right click, and then you just have X and Y as like the side buttons. That could be a really compelling way to play through games. I don't know.
Even better, make the numbers you can find the keys like left, so that you can say like I want A to be left click, B to be right click or something, and then back and forward to be X and Y.
I think the issue is like they've come like I think mouse mode for me personally is like really interesting. I think it's probably one of the most interesting new gimmicks of the Switch 2 for me when it comes to controls. And they just basically threw it out to the wolves and said, here's 0 support for it so far. Other than you can navigate the UI and our tech demo uses it. Like no first-party game yet supports mouse mode. Like they did an update, they did a Switch 2 version of Splatoon, and that game doesn't support mouse mode. And that's an FPS. That's like a third-person shooter. Perfect. So
I guess it's been a joystick FPS for a while. So maybe
no, I know what you're saying, Tony. HD rumble? What could they do to improve the rumble of the Switch 1? Well, let me tell you, Tony. They made it vibrate side to side, which actually allows it to be smaller vibrations and bigger vibrations. I will say the rumble on the Rumble HD2 is a lot better. Like it was really shit on the Switch 1.
Yeah, I will say like so when I first got my new phone like 6 years ago, like I had like I think it was like a Motorola G sort of whatever it's called. There's like the rumble on that was kind of I didn't realize like how good rumble stuff could be.
Are you talking about like
oh wow.
Are you talking about like haptic
just like
feedback?
The vibration? Yeah. No, just like the actual vibration itself. Just like the quality of like notifications through vibrations. But like I didn't know that you could have that be better, like the better things. Okay, so I understand that you can improve the rumble support than just it's just a motor, isn't it? It's like, no, there's qualities of that and software to like controlling stuff as well.
But yeah, so like because I was streaming this while playing it docked, I actually couldn't play like half of the games because they would be like, okay, we're going to test out. One of the games wants to really show you how much they love the kickstand, and it's like play this in handheld mode and then move the kickstand degree until it's at the right degree on screen. And it's just like a lot of Nintendo Switch like mini games, or if you can call them that, is just like them showing off and being like, look how cool it is, this thing we designed. And it, for the most part, unless you're like a Giga Nintendo fan, it just feels like they're kind of up their own ass with a lot of this stuff.
Right.
Like it feels like they're very much like, hey, look how awesome it is what we did, because they're constantly making So to progress, I'm doing quotation marks right now. You can't see me, but I'm doing quotation marks on my hand. To progress through this game, you have to collect these stamps. And so, like, I was like, okay, I just want to go and play the mini games. And the game's like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, why? It's like, you have to do a stamp rally. What's a stamp rally? You have to walk around this giant Joy-Con and then find these random stamps that appear in hidden places around the thing, and you can't go on to the next area until you finish that. And it just started to feel like the game was like trying to arbitrarily slow me down to kind of pad itself out because they realized they didn't have enough content to make the game a game. And they're like, we're charging £8 for this. Well, we need to, make sure people play it.
Do that.
Yeah.
It just seems really dumb because, it just needs to show off the changes and the new stuff.
You have to unlock all the mini games. You can't just go like, okay, let's try this feature out. Let's try this feature out. Let's try this feature out. Right. You have to go, no, you need to unlock this certain amount of medals, and then you can unlock this mini game. And this mini game's in. I made sure to turn my webcam on here so you could see me shaking my Joy-Cons around like maracas. I thought this was an important thing to show off for the Tangerine. Putting the Joy-Con straps on as well, just so.
And could you feel those beads inside?
It felt like there was beads inside those Joy-Cons.
Okay.
So it's split up into. So there's the mini games like the mouse mode one or the feel the vibration one I was playing. This is what's called a experience. So there's no game here, but it's just being like, hey, here's a tech demo. Try this out. I guess they're all kind of tech, but there's no like game inside of it. It's just like, here's a cool experience, and then there's quizzes. And quizzes are just some of the answers, they're just so slow to go through. Like they're like, hey, do you want to take this quiz? And it's like, okay, we're going to ask you 5 questions. Here's 5 pieces of information, and we're going to show it to you really slowly. And I'm like, okay, I read the first one. I think I get it. And it's like, no, you cannot take the quiz until we've made sure you've read every single piece of information with extreme detail. And I'm like, okay. And then it'll be like, hey, what is the Switch 2 powered by? A, electricity. B, rats. C, love. Or D, cheese. And it's just like, okay, it's powered by electricity. It's like, that's correct. Or it doesn't tell you until the end. So you get like a score at the end. And if you got one wrong, it's like, hey, you have to take this again. Oh, this little fucking shit. He kept coming up to me and be like, hey, yeah, you've got a couple of medals. Oh, have you got 10? Yeah, you kind of suck. Yeah, he was laughing at the end, buddy. I completed the stamp rally. I got the credits of Switch 2 Welcome Tour, buddy. Didn't have so many medals then, did you?
I feel like this is don't buy this.
Yes. But some of the questions, Tony, were so specific. Like, did you know, for example, so like, what? Because some of the stuff I'm like, this is kind of interesting, right? But then it was like stuff I would never repeat to a human being again because it was so specifically boring that I don't think anyone would ever be interested in it. Like, for example, it was like, for example, the Joy-Cons themselves don't have magnets in them. There's magnets inside the console, but the Joy-Cons themselves, like the bumpers, have steel in them.
Just metal.
And steel is heavier than feathers. And
so I watched Joey Rig Everything's like teardowns, so I knew that from that. So I got that piece of information.
The magnet between the actual the side of the console and the still thing, there's a layer between it to stop you from touching the magnets, right? And to hide it, right? And it's like, how thin do you think that is, Tony? Because I know exactly how thin it is. It is 0.02 millimeters. And I know that because it asked me specifically how thin it was. And it made sure that I knew that number. For some reason.
Guess a millimeter, but...
Yeah. But like playing through this, Tony, it was like, you're in this like giant museum where they won't let you go anywhere, and you have to learn like very specific facts about like this console. It like reminded me of being inside Severance. I was like, you're inside like this corporate hell. I was like, if there was a version of hell that exists, I feel like it would be the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, where that you just have these like overly positive people who just keep giving you useless information and acting like it is useful. I don't know.
You're gonna need this information.
I feel like I would be more like positive on this game if it was a free pack-in game. Like the fact that I spent £8 on this makes me so much saltier about it. I feel like
we added. I don't understand the stamp thing at all. I don't think that adds anything. I feel like
it just feels like they don't respect your time. It feels like they're literally just trying to slow you down to punish you for buying this
game. I wouldn't gatekeep anything. Just let you do anything in any order, then just keep track of what you have and haven't done.
Like there is like the 4K demo where when you connect a 4K display, it's like, hey, here's Mario 1-1 on its actual size on a 4K display, and it like as you go across to Mario 1, it fills up more of the screen, and you're like, oh my god, Mario 1-1 was tiny if you look at it on a 4K display. Stuff like that's really cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
But yeah, there's just like so much random shit. Like you can walk around and find someone's lost glasses, and then you have to walk to Lost and Found and hand them in. And it's like, okay, I guess that's a thing you could. It just feels like padding. I don't know. Sorry, you can't. Oh, all of the dialogue between Jesus Christ, the dialogue. Like, I'll be walking to section C, right, Tony? And then there's this NPC and his son, right? And they're talking to each other, and he's like, Dad, I want to go to section D. And he's like, haha, son, we can't go to section D yet. We haven't been to section C. And to get to section D, you have to get through section C first. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, these are the most NPC-sounding NPCs I've ever fucking heard. Like, the dialogue is absolute trash. And I wasn't expecting some Scorsese-level masterpiece in my fucking tech demo game. But it is just so, like, awful.
Why put it in the first place?
And the fact that they were like, no, we have to... I think it's the goal to be like, no, we want to charge money for this because we put effort into it. And you fucking walked it in. There was no effort put into this. Most of it is garbage. Like, the goal to be like, no, people have to buy this. Fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but I'm just feeling so jilted by this fucking game. Like... If somebody else buys this game for you, I mean, you might have a better time than me. But like for the most part, it just felt like having just bought like a expensive console, right? It just felt kind of like a kick in the face, right?
Yeah, I think that's understandable personally.
But yeah, that's my main thoughts on Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Anything else you want to? Oh, one thing that was cool. Guess the frame rate. You could guess between like it showed you like. 40 FPS, 120 FPS, 60 FPS, 30 FPS, and you have to guess like what it was running at, which I think was pretty cool. Also, like it had a VRR tech demo. There was a DLSS tech demo. Like they were actually showing off stuff that the screen could do. My issue when I was playing this is I was looking at it through a 60 FPS container, so I was like, is that 120? Is that 60? I actually can't tell because I was playing it through OBS.
Yeah.
So I need to replay this on the Switch 2 screen. But there is a bunch of stuff I would need to replay this on the Switch 2 screen because I had to skip it because I was playing docked. But so much about the game makes me not want to play it because I'm just so annoyed and pissed off by it. So
there's no point. No, you know, I don't think you're losing that personally.
No. So Tony, you've seen the best games on Switch 2 and you've seen the worst game on Switch 2.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I have a wild swing from like really, really good to...
My general rule of thumb is I took the experiment. Do not buy Switch 2 Welcome Tour, but please do buy the bundle of Mario Kart World, and please do buy Fast Fusion, because those games are really good. Oh, that's a 20 for sure.
And I feel like Fast Fusion particularly, like, you might forget about it or not see it. So worth seeing. It was worth that experience.
And we'll probably be talking about this next, like, play Switch 1 games. There's a bunch of Switch 1 games that run much better on Switch 2, and there's some really cool shit in there. So, yeah. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.